Hello, it's Adam here, also known as ABanimationLtd, and welcome to a video from my new game. This is Interstellar Voyage, which is a 2D game that I'm programming in Java. Or it might not stay Interstellar Voyage, I might change that. It's a sort of working title. And as you can see, well, there's a little guy walking around. That's obviously the player. We've got this some sort of level in sprint, and well, there is planet Earth, and as you can see, it's moving very rapidly. We're of course on a spaceship. That's the kind of premise of this game, and I will sort of explain what this is all about. The idea of this game is that it's going to be a sort of adventure-y space exploration type game. So what there will be is you're on this spaceship. It'll be quite a large spaceship. There'll probably be sort of crew members around that can assist you. The idea is that you'll be able to fly between all these planets and star systems. There will be a sort of storyline to it. But I don't know, maybe there could be a bit of open world type thing as well, we'll see. Yeah, you'll notice that we've got outside the planet Earth there, which is sort of, as you'll see, it's small and it's getting larger, and it accelerates towards us quite quickly, and then it recedes away quite quickly, and then it sort of stays there. And now the way it does that is because I'm actually simulating the position of sort of us here, based on real orbital mechanics, real physics, and you can see some of those up at the top there being calculated. So distance is our distance from the Earth in kilometers. Now I've actually scaled down everything for testing purposes. If I did everything real scale, then this whole cycle would take probably a few hours. This is basically a planet Earth that's only a few dozen kilometers in diameter, or so. I'm not fully sure. It'll probably say somewhere. I can't bother finding it in the code though. And there's our velocity, which is in meters per second, and our vertical speed, which is of course a sort of a fraction of the total velocity, which is calculated using a special angle, a special value, which is all being calculated in the background. And I won't go into too much detail about that. That's the general idea. Now, the orbital mechanics are pretty much set up, and this will sort of simulate things like a proper orbit. I think it still does need a bit of tweaking. The way it calculates the orbital period seems to be a bit off. I did calculations myself on paper earlier, and I got an answer which was about like 3 times smaller than what the game was saying it should be. So it still needs a bit of tweaking, and also I haven't yet implemented the means by which to sort of change the orbital parameters. We're currently just locked into a basic orbit with a fixed apoapsis and periapsis and everything like that. So I haven't yet added a way to change the velocity, and that will then have an effect on all the other orbital parameters. I haven't got to that point yet, and that's something I'm going to be working on next, because obviously when I do that, I could then we can change these orbits and use it to fly to other places, land on planets and stuff like that. So that's all for the future. I'm now having a bit of trouble with that, however, that's just due to the nature of how I'm handling these. I'm not actually simulating any 2D space with the orbits. It's just no vectors or anything like that. So it's kind of doing it unorthodox way. The only 2D space being simulated here is the ship itself, where I'm actually walking around in. So this is the actual level of the game, if that makes sense. So this is all based on the game programming YouTube series by the Cherno, and I will probably link to that in the description. That's a tutorial series that's been very useful. has been very very helpful for making this. All the pixel array for the graphics and everything is all based on that. So one last thing, you'll notice I've got these sort of little computers here, and we can actually interact with these by pressing E. You can sort of can't see it because of this sort of overlay here, and I'll probably add a button later to toggle these values here. But you can type a few commands into it. This isn't fully set up yet, so it's got a few basic things. I believe location is a command. Well, I actually got a crash there. I'm not fully sure why. When I actually entered the command into the computer, I got a null pointer exception. I might have to look into that. But for some reason, when I tried it again, it works just fine. As you can see, there I typed location, and it tells us our location, planet Earth. And maybe I could change it to say like orbiting Earth or something like that, just to distinguish it from like landed on Earth or something. I don't know. So yeah. What else is there? I believe there is a system which tells us sort of a system, and it will actually, if you're, let's say, orbiting the sun, and you type in system, it will list everything in that system. So in case of the sun, that would be the solar system, and actually list all the planets. So that can kind of give you an idea of different places you can go within any system, like a star system, or in the case of the Earth, like the moon would be in the Earth system. I haven't added moons yet. So yeah, what else is there? I believe distance does actually give our current distance, which was at that point 180 kilometers. And then there's period, which is supposed to give the orbital period, and it says 33 seconds, and we'll have to actually time that and see how correct it is later. But yeah, so we'll find it. I think that's all the commands we've got at the moment. Obviously later you'll be able to say turn on the engines. That'll change the velocity and change the whole shape of the orbit, so you can go to different places. Now obviously you don't hopefully what I kind of want is a system where you can do all the calculations and all the orbital physics and everything yourself if you know how to do that kind of stuff. But if not, you can have the computer calculate everything you need to know for you. But maybe that'll take longer. So I kind of want, sort of inspired by Kerbal Space Program here, which has really become a great game for teaching people about, you know, space and physics and stuff. Kind of inspired by that, I kind of wanted to go with a thing where you can have a computer calculate everything for you. That'll take longer in some cases than actually writing it all out on paper. So that might actually encourage a system where people will want to learn how to do the calculations themselves to cut down on the times. But I don't know, it probably won't be by a massive amount, because I don't want to introduce a kind of system where we've got massive waiting times or anything like that. And I don't know, depending on how people appreciate that, it might not be added. But yeah, there's obviously a lot more I want to do. I want to get the orbit, the whole physics system with these orbits finished, so we can actually control the ship and land on different planets. And then there'll be a whole system of being able to exit the ship and walk around on planets. But obviously some places you can't go, like the sun. You can't land on the sun. If you do that, you'll die or something. I'll have to add everything for that. It's actually impossible to die at the moment, but I will add a sort of like end game type thing, and I will require like menus and everything. So there's an awful lot of work left to do here. This is quite early on in development, but I've pretty much finished school now. I've only got a few exams left to do. They'll be all done in about 3 weeks time, and then I'll have the whole summer to work on this game. So over the next few months we should see this game progressing quite nicely. So yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.